4 days into our safari, we finally got a close-up view of a lion. And I mean really, really close up. By comparison, this was how close we got to a lion the day before. You see what looks like a small mound of dirt in the middle? That's a lion, trust me. So to go from this to this, you can understand why I was ecstatic. In many ways, this encapsulates the safari experience. You just don't know what you'll end up seeing. One day, you barely see the faint silhouette of a lion hiding in the bush. The next, you're close enough to scratch the lion's back, or accidentally drop your iPhone on her, which was definitely a thought I had when filming this. Also, the lion ripping my arm off. Of course, having experienced guides like ours who have spent many years in these vast parks, getting to know the terrain and the animals makes a huge difference. Even with binoculars, I often couldn't see what they were able to easily spot through thickets of bushes and trees while speeding down the bumpy roads. And not only did they know where to look, but how to position us for optimal viewing. While some of the photo opportunities lasted long enough to take several shots, many others were quite fleeting, and you felt fortunate to capture anything. At the end of the day, of course, what you ultimately get to see is up to the animals. There's no guarantee you'll see everything you want, but if you're lucky, you'll get to witness at least one moment that reveals a part of nature you haven't seen before with your own eyes. And perhaps it's a moment that also reconnects you to our planet. That was definitely our hope for the next leg of our adventure, seeing the Great Migration of Wildebeests, one of the 7 natural wonders of Africa. After 2 days at the Ngorongoro Crater, we were headed to the Serengeti. We got to the airport and boarded Regional Air's Cessna 208B single-engine turboprop plane. The cabin was cozy and comfortable enough. Our flight snack was a tub of mints. After our takeoff from a short dirt runway that ended over a cliff, we were airborne and got a view of a country where almost 30% of the land is made up of national parks. Speaking of which, less than 50 minutes later, we were in the Serengeti, and we would soon make our way to the wildebeests, hoping to catch them during a critical moment in their long journey, crossing the river.
You see where they're coming from?
Oh yeah. During our drive there, we caught our first glimpse of the Great Migration crossing right in front of us. As we watched, what started out as dozens of wildebeests quickly turned into 100, then several hundred, and not long after, they numbered over 1,000. Of course, this was just a drop in the bucket. More than 1.5 million wildebeests are set to join the 500-mile journey. However, 250,000 will die to hunger, exhaustion, and predators, such as the crocodiles that await them at the Mara River. That's where these wildebeests were headed, and so were we. A short drive later, we reached the Mara River, excited by what we might see. And once we crossed over the bridge, for as far as the eye could see, we saw an endless number of safari vehicles. Maybe 80 of them. There were a lot, and many of them were crowded around what seemed to be the prime viewing spot, directly across from where the wildebeest had gathered on the riverbank. So we turned our vehicle right and kept driving and driving and driving past all of the other vehicles until we found a spot with a clear view. We ended up pretty far from the action, but at least we had our spot. Now, you could wait hours for them to cross. Some days they don't cross at all, but all it takes is one brave soul to lead the charge. And it wasn't long before one wildebeest did dip a hoof into the water. Then, 20 minutes after we arrived, this happened. That same wildebeest, sensing this was her moment to lead, or perhaps just got tired of waiting for someone else to lead, made her way matter-of-factly across the river. Meanwhile, the others, energized by her bravery, inspired by her intrepidness, or perhaps just tired of standing there all day, immediately followed.
Can you sit down a bit?
Huge plumes of dust rose as hundreds rushed toward the river. And to our surprise, after crossing the river, the herd came directly toward us. The shaky camera clearly tells you I wasn't expecting this. We were now smack dab in the middle of the Great Migration. At one point, part of the herd stopped right in front of our vehicle and stared at us in a way that seemed to say, you gonna make more room for us? And we did.
Right here too.
To the right of us, another crossing point formed. Soon, the original crossing point petered out, and the main way across the river was now the route directly in front of us. In the upper left corner, you can see a group of zebras making their way to join the frenzied crossing. The Great Migration isn't just about wildebeests. Some 300,000 zebras also take part in the literal search for greener pastures. Once reaching the other side, the zebras found themselves in the middle of the excited chaos. Amid the commotion, these confused zebras ended up turning around and going against the herd. At one point, we saw a mama zebra and her foal leading their own charge across the river, with the wildebeest following right behind them. Meanwhile, the wildebeests kept coming. Many dove headfirst down steep cliffs as they made their mad dash across the river. And then, just as quickly as it had started, the crossings stopped. What began with one wildebeest leading the charge across the river ended with another deciding to turn around and run back.